Welcome back to Exploring Places Unknown. I'm your host, Trey, and today I have a truly inspiring guest with us. Her name is Nadine Lochtefeld. She's a visionary connector and wellness entrepreneur. Nadine is on a mission to help people reclaim their vitality and build lasting wealth through transformative power of water. Working in the medical grade water industry, she doesn't just offer high quality water, ionizers, and whole house filtration systems. She's creating a global movement of conscious entrepreneurs ready to live life on their own terms. With her unique affiliate model, Nadine empowers others to generate income while staying true to their values and lifestyles. So, welcome to the show, Nadine. I'm honored to have you here, and I'm excited to learn more about what you're doing and who you are as a person.
Thank you for having me, Trey. It's nice.
Yeah, when I came across your profile on Instagram, I was like, I need to connect with you in some way. And, come to find out like what you're doing with the water, I actually have experience and it really changed my life. So, I'm glad to have you here. And one of the things I usually start off the podcast with is kind of going into your backstory of how you became the person you are and how'd you get to where you are today.
Mm, Wonderful question.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll unpeel the layers a little bit here. So how have I come to this part of my journey where I'd say I experience life more coherently and in my purpose and my flow? Started from my humble beginnings of growing up in a family of 8 children. I'm the oldest of 8. And as you can imagine, with all these children and being the eldest, there's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of chaos. And then having 2 parents that were like children in their own ways made it a little challenging. So I grew up really fast. I developed a high emotional intelligence, I later realized, and learned certain key skills in regards to communication that I still take with me to this day. And so my journey started from being in my family and then going into middle school, high school, where we had moved, and my family, my mom and my dad had split, and it was a very nasty divorce. It caused a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak for everybody involved in the family, and including myself. I took on a lot of that burden. There was parts of me that were feeling really frustrated and fed up with the responsibilities and not being heard and listened to as a child, um, from when my parents were together. And then when that happened, it was like the tower moment, as you know, in the tarot cards, where everything just fell apart. I was discovering who I am, and so I started to live this double life where I would come home to the chaos, the darkness, the anger, all this stuff that was just happening, and trying my best to keep myself sane while then going out at night, partying, streaking in the golf course, somehow in random people's homes and smoozing older gentlemen. I mean, like, the list can go on and on. I activated this wild animal within me, and it was the best of times and the worst of times. I felt like I was escaping my reality in a lot of ways to try to create a new one, and at the same time trying my very best to be resilient and hold up this standard of what it's like to be a good human being and go to school and do well. And so, I discovered as the years came in high school that those partying days were starting to wear on me, as well as the stress and the traumas that I had bottled up and didn't know what to do with. And so I like developed all these conditions like anxiety and depression like symptoms. I mean, like, it was to the point where um these psychiatrists and therapists were just throwing me on different medications. I mean, there was even a point where my dad and I were taking the same medication, and he was 6 foot
Wow.
7.
Wow.
So, my introduction to my spiritual and my health and wellness journey, Trey, has started from the mental health space and literally feeling the depths of my soul and the darkness, the utter darkness. I mean, like darkness I don't wish upon anybody, that
Mhm.
I had to feel and I had to face and go through my own phoenix rising to then realize that, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. Actually, it's just unresolved trauma and these escapist patterns that I've developed. And I just needed to be seen, felt, and witnessed. And so that's when, you know, I discovered inner child healing for myself.
Mm.
I had this vision of, oh, I can help other people access that too. And, thank God for this mentor that came along my way and put that mirror up in my face, because if it weren't for them, I don't know where I would be, because I lived my reality in the sense of just escaping and
Yeah.
good time and like avoiding these very uncomfortable feelings, which I know a lot of people out there do that without trying, and so um fast forwarding, to a few years later, I started to become more aware of, spirituality and um, consciousness. Yoga was my first
Yeah.
gateway to
Yeah.
the spirituality aspect of my life. And that's what got me from my head to more of my heart. And
Mm.
I started to drink less. Like I would do more social drinking. And so I just bit by bit, as the onion just keeps unpeeling, I started to realize more of who I am and who I'm not and who I want to be surrounded by. And that's when I cut out alcohol. That's when I cut out the the weed and all the other fun stuff, which granted was a beautiful tool, crazy but beautiful tool that helped me to get to where I
Mhm.
was in that journey, to keep me sane and to keep me having a good time. And so from there, that's when it opened up a whole nother world. And I'm gonna pause on that, let you, take in that big chunk of my story
Oh, yeah.
there that I could keep
It's
going.
so good. It's so good. So kind of looking back at your past a little bit, do you find that you were kind of like modeling your behavior after what everyone else was doing? And the reason I ask that is because it's beautiful when we are true to ourselves. And I know for me, I tried to be like other people. And that's why I did the drinking and all the partying and stuff. So during that time, were you just modeling behavior?
It was a mix of both. So it was a mix of trying to be cool and, you know,
Hmm.
go out with the friends and have that bottle in my hand and the cute clothes, but it was also the the desire to have a new reality
Yeah.
and feel these euphoric, fun feelings and not have to feel the weight of the responsibility and the burdens I was experiencing at home.
Mm,
So it was a
yeah.
mix.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. A lot of people do have uh, the childhood trauma, and it's always going to be there, I feel like, until you actually face it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't feel like, there's a quick fix for any of it. Like you have to do the work. There was something I did called shadow work. Have you ever heard of that?
Yep, done a lot of that.
Yeah, so I went deep into that spot, into my heart, because I felt disconnected, like you said, from my brain to my heart and my spirit. There was a disconnection for me, and so I started diving into shadow work and learning more about why I feel the way I feel. And I think when you really get to the root of the issues, then you're able to actually grow from it. So
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's a chunk of the work that I did was with shadow work, and that's what helped liberate my spirit.
Mm,
Really. That's what helped, like, you know what the quote, "Once witnessed, forever changed"?
mm, yeah,
That's exactly what it felt like, because I was so used to, for years, unconsciously running away from my own shadow, real thinking that it was just demons and skeletons in the closet, when actually it was a part of me that was outcasted, repressed, that was wanting to be seen, felt, and heard.
yeah. I agree. Yeah, I was the same way. So with you spoke about emotional intelligence that you developed. That is that. So how do you cultivate that? I know that's kind of a broad kind of question or a vague kind of question, but how do you develop that emotional intelligence? Because you said um, you always carried your communication with you, that you were good with communicating. So how does a person develop emotional intelligence?
That's a good question. Uh, well, I mean, I'll just start from maybe the environmental aspect,
Mhm.
and then, go more into depth on that. So for me, how I developed it, and this is maybe something I'm still developing some awareness around, so thanks for that. I had to take a wild stab at it. I would say that, well, first of all, being in an environment where there's so much stress and chaos, and like there's all these other kids also wanting attention from their parents, and the parents not always being able to give that, and not being emotionally
Mhm.
available. Like, they're physically available, but not always emotionally. And so
Yeah.
it taught me, oh, it's not safe to express my feelings and my needs. So I'm going to just internalize that. And that's where the trauma and those unhealthy patterns begin. But the gift in that is that it's helped me to read social cues, because it wasn't always safe to
Ooh.
tell my parents things. I didn't know if I was going to get screamed at, hit, yelled at, and granted, they're beautiful people and we've made amends now, but isolating it back to those moments, I had to learn, and so did my siblings, how to read social cues, because hey, if mom and dad are the providers and they're the ones like that gave us life, that are putting a roof
Yeah.
over our head, right? We have to
Mhm.
be intelligent. We have to learn how to do things a little bit differently, to not only get their intention, but to get our needs met. And so not always did my needs get met in the way I needed emotionally. So I learned very cleverly, oh, when's the safest time to talk to them? What is the specific words I need to say so that they can receive me well? And so,
Mhm.
as you could see, if you're not conscious of that, it can turn into a very unhealthy way.
Yeah.
It can be used as manipulation. But the positive aspect of that is that you can use that for good, and you can use that to better enhance your own communication in regards to maybe talking to a loved one, like your romantic partner, a friend, a prospect for business, reading those social cues. So, and I guess, like, emotional intelligence, right? It's so vast, but
Mhm.
it's that part, right? Outwardly, but then it's also learning to read my own emotions. And so that looks like in the beginning days, writing down all these things that were coming through in my thought world. It was also like doing meditative practices and like becoming aware of like, what am I feeling? Because, you know, coming from a background where feelings really weren't that welcome. They were kind of looked at as foreign objects, and I think that's just a lot to do with our parents' generations.
Right.
Uh, I I was taught to also put that down, and so I think emotional intelligence is learning, hey, there's something here. Let's feel it and then liberate that feeling.
Mhm.
So I've learned and learning that emotions are just energy in motion. And
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, emotions are energy in motion. So the more that I have let my emotions come through without putting the cap on it, that's when those feelings alchemize and they turn into my greatest treasures. And that's what enhances my emotional intelligence.
Wow, that's really good. And it's creating like this really strong awareness too on your part. Like I'm still developing that too, in
Mm,
my own personal life. Um, you spoke about yoga being sort of a gateway for you.
yeah.
Um, I can personally see that because it like causes you to be still in the moment. And that's something you can carry with yourself each and every day. So, how did yoga impact you? And are you actually a yoga teacher or instructor?
I get asked that a lot. Not, not by trade. I could teach you one on the fly. But yeah, like what you said, the yoga helped me, and still to this day when I practice that helps me to get into my body and integrate the mind, body, and spirit. Because like I told you, like the mental awareness became alive. But then there's like, okay, well, what about the spiritual? And then like, oh, my body, I have this body. Like we gotta
Hmm.
integrate that. So yoga helped me a lot to really come in touch with my energy flow and give myself permission to feel safe and grounded in my body. And along with that, I would even say chiropractic care, particularly network spinal care, which is more nervous
Okay,
system focused. And that also, in conjunction with doing the yoga over the years, helped me to feel safe in my body.
interesting. With the chiropractic part, I've never heard of that. And you said it's just more of the nervous system. So, what were they like focusing on? Were you getting adjusted? Was it like um, I think it's called the tens stimulation. Was it so? What was the chiropractic doing basically for you in that?
Weird things. That trip walk. Things you don't want to know. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Okay.
no, things you do want to know. So it's actually a very eclectic model that I just stumbled upon one day when I was at a holistic fair. And the guy asked me if I would like a nervous system scan and, give background and stuff. And that being like one of my most vulnerable uh, categories to work on. I was like, why not? So what they do originally and initially is they'll scan your brain. They'll put this biofeedback scan thing on you, for lack of being able to properly term it, and it will scan what's going on in regards to your parasympathetic, which is that um, rest and digest, and then like what's going on sympathetically, which is that fight or flight aspect of your brain. And it sees how well your brain can perform on with stimuli and being able to regulate. So based on that, the chiropractic care is exactly like that. So what they do is they put me on a table and they just start tapping and touching parts of my spine without cracking, without doing the weird neck stuff. They literally just tap on my spine.
Wow.
Yep. And it's in a non-invasive way to connect the nervous system with our spinal fluid, which our spine apparently, it's like this beautiful instrument we carry
Hmm.
that holds the codes, that obviously holds the DNA. And what they're doing, in my own lens, is playing the piano on you and helping to tweak the sound of how you vibrate on a nervous system level, hence also energetically out into the world.
That's beautiful. I'll have to try that. Is that a common practice now?
Uh, it's still kind of a rare gem, like an alleyway kind of stumbling upon. There is the two that are in our local area.
Hmm.
I knew that they're nationwide. Just you just gotta know somebody that knows somebody kind of thing. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very nice because for me, I'm all about things that are going to be simple and like small steps to sustainable change. So think about it like this. You know how there's people that go out and they have this amazing psychedelic journey,
Hmm.
right? And now, do you know sometimes when they come out of those journeys, they're like, oh shit, I got to integrate. And then sometimes they don't always integrate well, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the problem with when you're doing something and it's such an extreme is that you're not giving your nervous system the right tools to work with after that big change and that big awareness. So what happens is
Wow.
them is like, oh shit, it's not safe to integrate this change, that this awareness that we had, we can't integrate it yet. We don't have enough storage in our storage box, which is the nervous system, or it's just that your environment that you're in is maybe just not sustainable. And so you go right back like a rubber band, you snap and you go right back to where you were. Not always the case. Some people
Mhm.
come out of those experiences and they're just like completely changed and then they make the change. Why is that? Because their nervous system had the bandwidth and they were able to hold that new frequency and then shift it. So, same thing applies to any other change in life. You get into a car accident, then you have to go get a chiropractic adjustment. What do? They start snapping and cracking and yeah, maybe you have your body maybe starts feeling a little bit better. But nervous system wise, it's an adjustment. And so what happens is things will snap right back if you're not diligent with that change. And so with something like what I did with network spinal, and I would even say just other areas of my life, the small micro changes make the most difference because I'll tell you this, Trey, when I went into that chiropractic office a few years ago and I did my scan, my sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, was like a Pac-Man and it was more than the parasympathetic. Then
Mm.
years later, I haven't gone back in probably about a year or two without care. And my nervous system, the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, was very high. And so the fact that my nervous system was able to sustain after care, no longer doing care with them, incredible. And why is that? It's because they worked with me on these subtle shifts by tapping on my spine. And then the things I was doing in my life, I'm
Right.
sober, not drinking and partying. So that gives me more points in my bank account, my nervous system bank account. So the small, subtle things make the most difference, in my opinion, for
Yeah.
change.
I absolutely agree. And you mentioned psychedelics. That's one of my favorite topics to talk about. And my experience with psychedelics were life changing. I believe I had the bandwidth, and I've only done it a handful of times. It's not like I'm going to try it and get some kind of trip out of it. Like there's an objective, and every time I've done it, it's been revolutionary for me spiritually and mentally. And so I'm a big proponent of like using things like that. I'd say I like to say medicine. I don't like to use drugs because it really helps you. um,
Yeah. I,
so
I think it can help a lot of people just as long as you have the awareness and you have the nervous system tools and you have the proper integration, then I could see that being really helpful for some.
I am curious about when you started to really become more aware of yourself and vibrate on this higher frequency,
Hmm.
what did you start to attract? Can you pinpoint, like, did you ever get like new friends? Like, what started manifesting for you?
Great question. Well, definitely the new friends. So when I started, I guess, vibrating higher, um, unintentionally, my friends split away. Like, so I had a tower moment. So, first tower moment, not even a tower moment, I would just call it a branching off. My friends from high school, we partied together. We were best friends, but they started going off into strip clubs, and that was like, all right, I'm not resonating with that anymore. And I felt weird
Mhm.
about that. Like, part of me, it was like this cognitive dissonance because I was like, I'm used to doing crazy hood rat shit like that, but like parts of me wants to read and be in a hermit like mode. So that was very odd. And I remember like the moment, like that part of my journey, it was like I started to notice all those memories, like those fun party days, they started to dissolve, and it was like this opening to a new world.
Mm,
It was strange. It was like, whoa, like a new life. And I wasn't like I didn't realize that was gonna happen so suddenly, but it did. And then like a couple years later, my next wave, my next awareness cycle, my next
mm,
leveling, I did have a tower moment where another friend from high school that I was living with betrayed my trust. There was all sorts of weird stuff that happened. Like her stepbrother moved into town. We started having a weird fling, like, I saw him as a friend at first, but then it turned into like friends with benefits, and then it got really like this sticky, like this weird triangle thing that started to happen. And my friend, like, she was going through something at the time, and it was just one of those things, the tower moment. She up and left the lease, left me and my roommates like high and dry, and I like had this heart wound, which
mm,
back to my mother wound of abandonment, with like, oh my gosh, like this person I trusted for so long, who we were like this with, just like left and like completely betrayed my trust. What the heck? And so that's when I started noticing like old people from my old life really started to fall away fast. And I was confused. I was hurt. I was like, why, universe? Like, what did I do to have this happen? I couldn't understand it at the time, but some deeper part of me knew that there was something more that was shifting for me, and I just didn't quite know what or how. And it was like this um tunnel vision kind of thing. I felt like I was in this cocoon, like old world's there, the new world's not quite yet there, and I felt like I was in no man's land. And so that was one a next level of upgrades. And then, from there it just went to the next level in 2020 when I got laid off from my job and discovered I needed to change my water and my health. And so, yeah, I don't know if
mm.
I answered your question.
Oh, that more than answered it. Like you didn't see me lean in. I was like, oh shit, this is getting good. You know, what I love about your spirit is that you're like really in tune with yourself. That's my perception of you. Um, and what I've learned too about just life in general, like you said, emotions are in energy and motion. Like people will be attracted to, I guess, whatever you're putting out. And so you were just in transition, so to speak. And you got all these new things about to happen. And so I do find that people are afraid of those moments, like being alone. And I struggled with that too for a long time. Was like, man, I don't really have my old friends anymore. I don't even identify with what they're doing or what they're saying. So like, it's okay to embrace that. And you know, I don't mind now. Like I feel like the universe will bring to me whoever needs to be in my life. Like, and I know we talked about our little antennas. I love doing the little antenna thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but uh, doing our little antennas. And so I'm always like looking out for those moments, for people to come into my life or things to happen. So
Mm.
that's really, really, really awesome. Um, well, how do you cultivate self-love for yourself nowadays? What
Oh.
does that look like? Because you used to do the drinking and the partying.
Mhm.
So what does Nadine do to feel whole each and every day?
Mm. That's so beautiful. Oh, whoa. When I'm really at it and devoted, like it looks like holding myself and like giving myself nice like hugs, waking up and doing some kind of breath spinal movement. Even like nowadays it's so simple. It's like going outside and putting my bare feet on the ground with my shake in my,
Mm,
and I'm just soaking up the sun like a cat by the windowsill. um I'm starting to realize um like less is more this season. uh so like I used to and sometimes still do like have all these tools in my toolkit, and I'm like adamant about having a specific ritual that's going to get me in my flow, which sometimes looks like EFT tapping, which is good, emotional freedom technique on the meridian.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's looked like dancing. So times when like my inner child's feeling hurt, I'll do like a dance, like I'll put on a playlist that's alchemical, and I'll like really allow myself to go into those feelings and feel it. Sometimes it's not always easy getting to that space of dancing for myself, but I do, and it's so healing. But
Mm.
honestly, Trey, like it's self-love for Nadine is very simple these days. It's like going outside, like I said, soaking up the sun, taking nice walks. It looks like eating some dark chocolate, some cacao, and I'm letting that melt on my tongue, and I just soak in the abundance. And then it also looks like random dance parties where I just like turn on music and I just allow myself to flow and like be silly and look silly, and like whatever tune I want to tune on, I'll do that. And um, what else? Just allowing myself to dream, and I literally like will call out to the universe and I'm like, thank you so much. Like I'm so grateful. Or like, universe, angel guides, can you please help me like feel more like I speak out loud a lot to the ethers and even myself. Like I'll speak to myself and I'm not afraid to speak to myself. I'll look like a fool with myself. I feel
Yeah,
hey Nadine, like if I'm really having a tender moment, I'm like, hey, it's all good. Like I love you, I see you. Um, so yeah.
that's awesome. You mentioned EFT tapping, and I'm aware of that. I had a lady, she's actually a founder of Soar with Tapping. I
Ooh,
had her on the show, and she developed the app for tapping for whatever situation where there's anxiety, stress, sleeplessness, whatever. And I just found out about that a couple months ago. So that's pretty cool. That you're like woke like that. That's badass.
wow.
That you're taking the initiative to like really make sure you're good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a necessity for me because knowing that that was the category that was the weakest and sometimes can still be a vulnerable category, like that is top priority is making sure my brain and my nervous system are healthy and functioning good because, I had a hurdle of obstacles before me with all these symptoms of anxiety, depression, all that stuff back in the day. And then like the environment I was in, like it taught me the most resilience I think out of anybody I know. But the catch
Mm,
22 is that I have to also make sure I'm tending to that mental health garden a lot more than maybe the average person because of how emotionally receptive I am. I'm like a sponge. I've learned to be more um, resilient in regards to how much my sponge soaks in and what I squeeze back out.
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something I think the universe, God gifted me as something to really work through in this life and then lead by example. But the EFT has been so profound and
Mm,
so simple. Like, it could be for anyone. You could be like in a 9 to 5 job and you're working or you're on the go. Like, just tap for like 30 seconds to a minute and you'll notice a huge difference. Like, I don't even have to say words and I tap and then like I feel my energy is like, whoa, it's so nice. Like,
yeah.
love it. This is great. So yeah,
Yeah.
this season of my life, it's really been like activating and receiving the abundance more so. So like I told you, those first few waves of my journey was, clearing through the mental health cobwebs, finding my voice, finding my inner,
Mm,
and the next wave was like cutting out the debris that was stopping me from being in my most authentic true self, including the job I had back in 2019, being in the service industry for 10 years. So then there was that, and like activating my health and wellness desires and my vision for what I'd like to create for my life, for others, which before was so closed off because I was so used to playing small and I had all this like frustration. I was obligated to go to school and like, so, that season of life completed, and the universe gave me a boat and was like, "Here you go. Here's a new river
Yeah.
to flow through," which, is part of my like life's work right now, my vocation, which is through the water path, but also simultaneously the path of abundance, and like taking what I've learned from my younger years and bringing that to mentoring other people and just even leading by example. And anyone I interact with, including you, Trey, is just that, you know, authenticity, that inner child healing, that, health and wellness, like from not only the mental but the physical, like knowing what it's like to come through the waves of what felt like hell at times to come out stronger and be that voice of reason and that leader that has been in the trenches and is also discovering what it's like to be in the high of the sky. And so like the last few years, including now, it's been like really claiming my abundance path and like clearing all this
Nice.
around money, around prosperity. And so like right now I'm in the season of really receiving that abundance and prosperity that I've rejected unintentionally for so long because I didn't think I was worthy.
So you're surfing the waves of abundance right now.
Yeah, I'm starting to really surf the waves of not only financial but spiritual abundance, which is just as important to me as financial. So that's
Mm,
something I really feel in my heart that I want to continue activating for myself, but also giving other people indirectly like the access for themselves is abundance being my birthright, being your birthright, and really feeling worthy of having a beautiful, wholesome life where I can feel inner richness, inner peace, which is ultimately what I've always wanted. And now, with accessing more of that, now it's like, let's experience outer abundance too, where I have multiple streams of income and I am well resourced. My food is
hmm.
stacked in my pantry,
Yeah.
my toiletries are stacked, like little things like that, but also going on travels and like experiencing life with other people and like connecting to the heart. That's what it's all about for me. And so, with my pathway through the water, through my own personal development journey and my mentoring, and then just my passion for like investing and, creating multiple streams of income, that is something I'm going to continue to, pour into and activate my frequency because, hey, the more of us activating that frequency of love and authenticity and prosperity, the more this planet will be free, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's good. And I think too, you can't really truly appreciate abundance unless it comes from a depth of self love, first and foremost. And I want to ask you about your friends that you have now.
Yeah,
Um, well, I could tell you for me, like the season I'm in, I'm attracting friends that just get me. That doesn't mean I can't communicate my feelings or anything, but the flow of people that are coming, they just get me. And I think it's because of the energy that I have. Do you feel like that's something that's going on with you right now?
for sure. I mean, even us meeting on the internet, that's
Yeah, that's true.
that's a piece of that. Yes, exactly, like, just people that come into my space, and it's just like, "Yo, I don't even have to share my life story unless we want to, because I get you, you get me, we just vibrate," and I think that's what's gonna continue to happen more and more as, like, we upgrade our frequency, it's gonna become a matter of resonance versus a matter of just explaining yourself and investigating relatability.
Yeah, that's so good. I enjoy talking to you. Like I feel like it's genuine, it's authentic. Like I'm picking up stuff from you spiritually. Like when you talk about your journey, it's like some healing salve that's coming over my heart to keep pressing on, to keep doing my personal work and doing what I need to do. So like thank you for what you are doing
Mm,
and being yourself. um I do want to kind of change lanes a little bit and talk about what you're doing with the multiple streams of income, um, the water. So if you want to talk about the importance of it and what you're doing in that space,
Would love to. H2O, dog.
that's what it's about. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so, you know, I want to go on a little rabbit hole just to the story of why I felt called to the water path for a moment and share why this is so important for people. So, I, like many other people back like 6 years ago, had no clue that water isn't just water.
Mm,
I thought water was just water. Tap water sucks. But I didn't I didn't have the capacity to think outside that box. So I just didn't know. So, you know, with just working in my job at the time, I got this download randomly and it was like, you need to change your water. And I'm like, what the heck does that
mm,
change my water? So I'm like, cool. Start putting soda water with lemons, thinking that's good. And then I'm like, okay, I know I need to change my water, but I don't have the solution. I don't even know where to look. And so months later, I had met somebody that was working a booth with me, which I shared with you. And she was saying that she had this health business online. And I felt jealous. I was like, she has a health business online and like she's able to work wherever and whenever she wants. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like at the time, I didn't realize that was actually a desire I wanted for myself. That's how shut off I was from my vision, from my gifts. And
mm.
when she had mentioned, I have this special water, I was like, bingo, all right, we could talk. And then I opened up my mind and then I was just blown away that, wow, there's more to water than what meets the eye. And so I went down a water hole research. Like I looked up all the things to try to debunk whatever I just saw. I was like, what is water? I looked up all these studies and then I just as the years came, I started to learn more about, oh, there's different types of water. There's filtration, there's plastic water, there's, all these different things. And so really what got my heart, it's like one of two things. One, what drew me to the water path was the fact that this particular path, I knew there was endless opportunity to serve people because it's something that is literally the basis of life, water. Water is life. We can't live without it. And we are made of 70% of it. And our earth is made of 70%, if not more. And so it just became one of those no brainers. Why aren't we looking more into this? And of course, the pathways that I've chosen are incredible ways to build residual wealth and have that freedom lifestyle if I so choose, which that drew me to. And I think that's something that will draw a lot more people is that, um, living life more freely, regardless of what vehicle and opportunity you work with. But going back to the water, it was just something that was weighed on my heart the more I started to learn and understand, and the more I started experiencing the shifts in myself, which I'll share
Mm,
more about the specific water that I work with in a second. But I just want to highlight like the more I kept experiencing the shifts in my own body from just changing my water to also reading about stuff, hearing of people's testimonies, and then hearing about these crises that are happening not only nationwide, Trey, but literally worldwide in regards to either water scarcity, water contamination, plastic water crisis, microplastics, and then you got these pipes and then underneath the ground that are rusting, and we're literally drinking out of this shit. And then people are paying like $3 to $6 freaking dollars a plastic water bottle just to drink freaking water that isn't even from those springs like we think it is. And
right.
we wonder, and the water in our the number one product in stores that is bought is water, and it makes you wonder, why is that? It's because people don't trust their water source and
Mm,
think that's the best solution. And so I didn't like the fact that this is happening. And I also years ago didn't want to be known as water girl, so I had my own journey. Like seriously, I did not like the idea of being named as the water girl. It just sounded weird, and I was like, "There's more to my purpose than just water." Like that's literally the energy I was giving off. I'm like, universe, I am this. I am a inner child healing guide. I am like, uh, coach. I am this. I am that. And it was like this part of me that was feeling like so rigid about the fact that, hey, I also share some amazing water. It was like this weird shame thing, maybe because like
Mm,
won't really. I don't see people caring about it so much that then I internalize it. I'm like, oh, they don't care about me, and like this is boring to them. But the more I kept like looking into it, and even times I've walked away from sharing the water, universe is like, get your ass back down here, girl. You have more work to do. And there's more to this mission that goes beyond you, but also beyond the water. The water is a conduit, and it's a part of this consciousness shift. I realized, Trey, this is my own experience,
that's good.
that is happening on the planet. Like going to astrology terms for a second, we literally have stepped into the age of Aquarius, Aqua,
Hmm.
Aquarius. So literally Aquarius is the water bearer. So we are literally stepping into this generation where we're bearing the waters. We are becoming more free and liberated in how we interact with each other, and most importantly, how we are interacting with the water. And so this is why there is more awareness happening. There's more things being exposed about our water. This is why the current mission that I'm working with, and particularly the particular product I'm working with, why it blew up from 2020 up, because the pandemic happened, pandemic, however you want to look at it, and woke
That's good.
up, including myself. And people realize there's more to life than what we're being sold to in regards to the pharmaceutical industry, the food products in our stores, and then most importantly, the water we're putting into our body. And so I I'm so passionate, as you can see, about this because I see this as such a blind spot. And it was a blind spot for me, I mean, years ago. And I just see this being a blind spot in our health and wellness industry, which blows me away still. I see this as a blind spot in like other places too. And, seeing people drinking plastic water bottles just casually. And hey, like, no offense, like, we all have been there. Sometimes, rarely, I will have a plastic water bottle, but I feel like there's so much more that we can do. We got to be sovereign in how we are relating to our water, and ultimately how we're relating to our bodies and our health.
All I mentioned was water, and it's like you got fired the fuck up, which I love it. I want to nerd out for a moment with the whole water thing. Um, our bodies, I've taken science, anatomy, and physiology, and our bodies like to stay in what's called homeostasis. That's a state of like relative like balance. That's basically what it means. And also, our bodies operate on a pH level. And so the quality of your water actually really matters, like with fighting off disease, sickness, lethargy. So, yeah, your water matters. What really pisses me off
Mhm.
is the contamination part,
That's right.
um, and how our world, our planet, like with plastic and shit, just I don't like it at all. So, um, what do you think the solution is to that? Have you thought about that
Yeah.
much?
I've I think about that quite often, and I feel relieved that I have solutions that target these exact issues that were pissing me the fuck off too. Now we have to make this explicit. Sorry.
No, oh, I was, no, you're good.
There
You're
was
totally fine. You're good. I started it. I mean,
But yes, I there are solutions to this out there. And I mean, there are some micro solutions out there beyond what I represent that you can find. But I personally believe, this is my own bias, that the solutions I have found are the best on the market to help with this: the microplastics, the pharmaceuticals, the forever chemicals, the um,
mm,
disrupting things that are in our water, the sediment that gets built up that rusts our pipes or hardens our pipes. I have a solution that I've partnered with that literally addresses that not just in one tap, but literally all of our taps in our home. So we're literally getting clean, purified water again. And it's at
Hmm.
99.99%, like reverse osmosis, but better, but we're leaving our minerals in there, which that's also something that I could talk about on a side note is that reverse osmosis is not the ultimate solution. It's better than a lot of stuff. I will tell you that. But it's stealing minerals from your body, and we don't want that. And so then going back to what you're saying, Trey, well, yes, the contaminant piece is the first stage of how we want to address water. But then the next piece, which is what you stumbled upon in that one store in Colorado, which is the special therapeutic water that's ionized, that has molecular hydrogen and negative ions in it, which is literally going into our cells and giving the cells voltage so that we can thrive and we can reduce, sorry, I can't say these specific words, but you know what I mean, these conditions that are in the body. And it's because the body's acidic, inflamed, and it's lacking the alkalinity, and it's also lacking the antioxidants to fight off those free radicals. And so I literally have a medical grade solution as well that pairs really well with those filters, that's going to give you the whole wellness experience. And you don't have to buy plastic water bottles anymore, because now you're saving yourself money, you're saving yourself the microplastics, and you're also getting your health boost and you're getting your health back. And if you already have decent health, you're just going to optimize it even more, because now you're taking out all that crap that's in our
Hmm.
water that we have not really much control of on the outside. And then we're putting the voltage back, which is what these healing springs across the world naturally have. There's over 7 of them. You can look it up. Lourdes, France, Germany. I think there's one in Mexico. And so I'm literally bringing solutions that are bringing people living clean water again, like our ancestors had access to. But
Yeah, that's good. I've visited hot springs a couple years ago. What do you think of the water there? Did you try the hot springs or have you been there?
I, I've been. Are you talking about like hot springs all across the nation, like just random ones?
Well, just hot springs, Arkansas. They have like a natural. Have you tried that water? What do you think of it?
I have not drinking from it. I can't really speak to it positively or negatively just because I lack the knowledge. But what I can say from a lot of the springs that people feel safe about, you got to do your research and get a test done, because I'm just going to tell you this: Mountain Valley Spring Water, I just found this out last night. It's unfortunate, but they're one of the best water bottle brands that a lot of people are aware of and use. And I've even like endorsed that for the sake of, if you're going to do bottled water, go to Mountain Valley Spring Water. Well, there's a video that just came out last night exposing they had all these levels of contaminants in their water, that some of them
Hmm.
were reaching the limit, and people were told that this is the most pure, clean water, and it's from a spring that we all like and trust. And again, all due respect to that company, I don't even like throwing names. Still a great company, but again, these things happen when you're relying and you're putting all your faith and trust into a company that's sourcing water from this one place. And that goes back to what I'm saying with how important it is to be sovereign over our own water. Because think about it,
Mm.
that company, other companies that have plastic water bottles, they have to source the water from somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they're
true.
not gonna source it from their beautiful Ozarka or Fiji. They're going to source it from the tap water. And even if they are sourcing it from the places like they claim marketing wise, which isn't always true, by the way, they're taking from places that are local water sources. Those are their people's water. Why are we jacking with
Wow.
water so that we can have our convenience when we literally have access to water? It's not like we're in certain parts of Africa or other desertous places in the world where they can't even form a droplet. We literally have water right here. Yeah, it's poo poo with tap, but we can change that with the right solution.
Yeah, with the medical grade solution, it can be changed for
Yes.
sure.
And more,
Um,
talk more on that another time. But yeah, I think that's good enough introduction to, hey, there's more solutions out there than what meets the eye.
so who gives the stamp? Well, who are the bastards that give the stamp of approval on these water bottles, so to speak. And is it the FDA? Like that says, "Hey, okay, this water is good to drink or consume." Who gives that stamp of approval?
That's a really good question. I don't remember on the top of my head who's the specific group of people. I do know for tap water, particularly, it's going to be the EPA that gives that stamp, and then there's the EWG that comes in, and they do their own independent testing because they're a nonprofit. I know that side of things. But in regards to the bottled water industry, it could be FDA because they are selling it as a product in the market. But we'll have to look. We'll have to look into that further. But either way, it's definitely a very casual stamp of approval. That's all I have to say about that.
And so the name of the water source that you use, what's that company called for the audience?
Yes. So if you're looking for the whole house filtration at the medical grade level, I use a company partnership, Pureway. They have a parent company called Top and Health that's been in the medical dental industry for 35 years, and they just went to residential, hence the name Pureway. And then if you're looking for a way to bring your water to the next level and give it that voltage, the negative ions, the hydrogen, even replace your cleaning products, then you're going to want to look into Kangen water from a company called Enagic from Japan, and they make medical grade machines, and it's actually a stamp of approval from the Japanese ministry for medical grade machines.
Yeah. And I've tried this water personally, and it's fire.
Yeah, tell
Absolutely fire.
what was your experience with that?
I felt like it was like my body was like, and I'm pretty sure I was like drinking. I felt hydrated, but like when I drank the Kangen water, it was like, oh shit, like my body like responded positively to it.
Mm,
And even when I was drinking it, there were people coming in like filling up and taking water back home. So it's really 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 good. And I believe in like quality. We're humans, like we should really take that like seriously, what we put in our body. And I haven't really talked to you much about food,
mhm.
but if you have like any nutritional advice you want to share, that's like my bread and butter. I love talking about nutrition and food and what we put in our bodies. Obviously, we've both heard, you are what you eat, and I think that's true. So if you want to share some on the nutrition side, I'd love to hear it.
I feel like that's your zone of genius, but I'll share my opinions and you can add to that and what have you. So, for me, I guess everybody's bodies are so different. So I personally like eating mostly plant-based, but I'll have some lighter meats here and there, and I like to make sure it's well sourced as best as I can. Um, I also think it's important to eat the colors of the rainbow. So like vegetables are the colors of the
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of getting as much antioxidants in the body. So, of course, if you're not going to have access to the Kangen water and things like that, I would say you can get some antioxidants from your food at least. And one of the best antioxidant sources for me is eating blueberries, and I put that in my smoothie every day. And that's actually one of the top ways you can have antioxidants on a food level. And then also too, I think it's really important to add like mushrooms to your food, like the reishi, the turkey tail. Like there's like blends you can do, but mushrooms are so compatible with our body. And so just putting some of that in your smoothie. And then I put like greens powder in mine. So like greens, the mushroom powder. Um, and then I suck at this, but vitamins, like so bad about it. That's why I feel so weird talking about it because I'm like, I am the worst at taking vitamins. Hey, if you can remember to take them, they're really good. But maybe you could add to this tray because this is your wheelhouse.
With what? Just the vitamins?
Oh, the nutrients and like the food stuff.
Oh yeah. Um so there is a gut to brain biome that's going on there. Um essentially, what you eat can affect your mood. And then just look at the American diet, in general. It's I well, I think we are like the most diseased nation in the world, with diabetes and heart disease and cancer. So you really have to be your own health advocate, and definitely like read the labels in the stores. I think the less is better.
Yep.
um, and implement something called intermittent fasting. That's what I do. Like after a certain time, I stop eating, and what that does is it gives my body an opportunity to heal.
Yep.
And so a lot of people are just like, my opinion, eating snacks throughout the night, going to bed, and they're never really letting their body do what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
Your digestive system, your gut is where all the magic happens. So if you're feeling like shit and bloated and stuff, maybe take a look at your diet and try to implement fiber. That's another big missing thing
Yes.
um, in our diets, especially the American diet. It's very low fiber, and
Yeah.
so you want to implement some fiber, to kind of get that natural flow through your body. So, and water is another big one as well. But
Yeah.
um,
Right.
intermittent fasting is it's changed my life. So, and before we started this podcast, you were talking about your fasting journey. So, um, you want to share that?
I guess I'm a little new to it, so don't take too much from this. I'm actually on day 2 of my 5-day fast, and it's more of like a cleanse than like a true water fast, but it mimics the properties of the fast. And so, like Trey, like you, I've unintentionally intermittent fasted over like the last few years, but this particularly, what I'm doing right now is more of an intentional, deeper fast. And so
Mm.
I'm actually amazed at the power of 2 humans coming together right now because Trey, like before this call, I was just like, my brain was like, like that day 2, they already warned you. They're like, it's gonna feel like keto flu, and I'm like. So my body was feeling okay, but my brain was just because I'm my vice is sugar, like
Mm.
carbohydrates. So I'm really feeling it because my brain is like, we're so used to all this sugar. What's going on, girlfriend? And like I'm like, I can't give it to you.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been an adjustment, but talking to you particularly has like up leveled my energy. So I actually feel like I'm on like maybe what they call day 3 or 4 when you're entering that stage, or we can't even say that word. A sounds like autograph, but autography.
Autophagy.
Yes. So I feel like our conversation expedited that process to that word A.
Yeah. This woman said autograph. What?
Okay,
Autograph? I was just messing with you.
let's get my autograph.
I love um fasting. For me, like I do it, of course, like I'm fasting to like give my body time to heal, but on my extended fasts, it's really intentional for me because it allows me to really dive into my spiritual powers.
Oh,
Like when I'm fasting, because I'm all the things in my body slow down, it allows me to open my spirit more. And so like when I fast, it's like I'm like super duper aware. Like I can feel people's energy, their vibe. It's really, really cool. Even though you're like hungry, but like if you really want to tap more into that spiritual side, fasting's another way to do that. Like that's a practice that's been around forever, basically. Fasting, honestly. Just to piggyback one last time off of the nutrition side,
mhm.
there was something I was exposed to years ago. It's called the China study. And are you familiar with that?
Mm, mm-mm.
So the China study was done in China.
Oh, really? I would have.
Yeah, yeah, isn't it crazy? Uh, so it was done in China, and they wanted to do a study on a population of people that didn't eat meat, so to speak. Or if they ate it, it was very small amounts. And so they found that the population lived longer, and they pretty much had no um, heart disease, no cancer, or anything like that. And I'm sure there was like a few pop-ups of that here and there, but reading that book, the China study, really opened my eyes to nutrition and diet and what we eat. And so what I see in America is that we're really like in this death cycle of people feeling like they can eat what they want, which you can, but then also running to these really quick fix solutions like Ozempic, or they want to lose the weight. So,
Mhm.
and which that has been shown to be very detrimental to your health. Just like rapidly losing weight, 40 pounds in 2 weeks, like that's a little dangerous.
It is dangerous.
And so the China study really opened my eyes to diet, nutrition, and here in America, meat. That's always preached like, hey, where are you going to get your protein? Well, you can get your protein from plants.
Mhm.
You really can. And so,
Pea protein
um, oh yeah,
is a
yeah,
really good
that's.
one.
And I'm not really a big fan of like dairy.
Neither.
It just, I don't know. It just makes me feel yucky.
I
You
agree. I
know.
used to get sick more from eating dairy, and I would even say the like heavier meat diet. So
Hmm.
I think that there is a lot of correlation to that. And then what you said about the China study, I just read a book. I forgot the specific name, but it was like something with longevity. They did a research on like these different countries of the blue zones, and
Mm,
heard pretty much the same thing as you. A lot of these populations that were living to 100 or more that were actually thriving is because they had community, and then they were eating mostly plant-based and they splurged on meat.
that's good.
Yeah,
Blue zones, huh?
blue zones, man. And then the resilience to stress. That was also a thing, which was mind blowing, especially with the Okinawan people of Japan, is that they didn't actually have the most glamorous lifestyle back in the 50s
Yeah,
with the World War, the famine, but somehow that resiliency, the community, and then eating the mostly plant helped them to live to 100 and more. So yeah, I think that we can definitely empower ourselves with better fuel and having cleaner food nutrients, eating more plants, cleaner, more optimized water, and then what we're feeding our mind.
yeah, that's good. And we're not saying you got like you can't eat what you want. I just want to say to everyone to look at the data, look at the stats, the statistics surrounding the American diet, or just how you eat. Like disease and stuff. Like no one is invincible
Hmm.
to it. Like you really have to be your own advocate in this. So, and everyone wants to say they want to be happy and live long. Well, you have to do the work. The small things, lead to big wins over time. So,
I agree.
um, Nadine, I do want to jump back into your backstory real quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to relationships as well,
Hmm.
I know you mentioned that you were schmoozing, quote unquote, older gentlemen and stuff like that. So, like, that's
Right.
that's what that's what you said. So, uh, now that you're on this other come on. Now that you're on this other level of vibes and goodness, how has it been like romance for you in relationships like that?
Well, I'm dating an older gentleman, but he's not that kind of older gentleman that I was insinuating. So it's definitely a part of my path to have a person I'm dating that's older than me, but we're not playing around with old gentlemen. So yeah, I've attracted a beautiful partner who's very wholesome and sees me for who I am at a soul level and really is safe to be around. And Yeah, he's like 11 years older than me, but he looks like he's in his 20s because he also takes care of his health and cares about nutrients like you, Trey, and me, just as much, if not more, than me. And so, yeah, like attracting that has been such a blessing because, like I talked to you about in another conversation, Trey, it's like the guys I was experiencing before were either emotionally unavailable, or they just were into like the drugs and weed and drinking, or they were just like bizarre, like uh,
Mm,
not like they were almost there. Like I would come across some that were almost what felt like the one. I thought they were the one.
really?
Uh, the universe is like, nope, like that's not for you, honey. And I met this guy, and that's just opened up my heart and allowed me to soften into my feminine more than I ever have before. And
Mm,
it definitely wasn't no cakewalk, I'll tell you that. Like we worked through so much in the like first few years. I call it the toddler years, where we went through all the cobwebs that were coming up, the resistance, the punching box bags that I had on my hands. And he really has invited me to be in my heart and to trust that I can feel safe with the masculine, and that I deserve love that is wholesome and makes me feel like the queen of my world.
yeah. Do you feel like he so basically you did say he is like helping you on your journey. And so like for me in my personal story, when I would get involved in relationships, I wasn't at the depth of self-love for me,
Hmm.
and I would look to that partner, so to speak, to fix me. And I think that created like a really dangerous, destructive cycle for me, because I didn't know who I was at the time. And so, like, that's really beautiful that you found someone like that. And I heard you mention you called him your beloved. Like, I've never even heard people talk about their partner like that. That is really, really awesome. And so, where did you get that clarity to say that he was the person for you? What was that defining moment for you?
Hmm. Oh wow. Well, I if I had to really pinpoint it, well, there's two parts, but I also want to say it's like the micro moments that add up over time that it just clicks and you're like, yeah, yeah, like this is it. But I would say particularly one when I first met him and we had this space apart for like 2 weeks, and I was questioning whether I made the right choice to friend zone him. And then like I had this dream, and the dream was telling me like it had him in it, and I woke up and I started realizing all these green flags that I once wrote off as yellow flags because I was so used to dating men that were unavailable, and that hurt my
Hmm.
heart. So that was
Mm,
to see that distortion that was there previously. That was one piece where I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is exactly what I'm calling in. Like, what am I doing? So that was one part, and another part is that just through our fights and stuff, this might be a little shadowy, but I was like, he would still stick around. And I'm like, this guy's still sticking around after me giving him so much shit and having a meltdown and like just going through my process. Like he was still there. Like even when I told him I'm gonna run away or you just leave without me, like I like the shadow parts, he'd still want to be there and he still wanted to work things out. I'm like, well, that's different. I'm not used to that. And the fact that he's so willing to tell me how the truth of how he feels about me and how he feels in relation to me all throughout our relationship like is such a gem, and it's not something I've come across I don't think really ever in my relationships in the past, like men that were that earnest to the point of even uh hurting their girlfriend's feelings because out of love they want to be
mm,
integral. And so that was a key thing about him that was like, okay, that's a keeper. And then just the shared values that we have. We both have the same life path or nine in
mm.
the numerology. So we're all about growing and evolving humanity and ourselves. But just yeah, our goals for investing and our health is like pretty similar. So that was like, yeah, keeper vibes.
So you're saying love isn't all the lovey feelings, basically.
Oh no, not at all. Like there's more than just those hot and like bubbly feelings, which is something we talk about sometimes to this day because we've been dating for 5 years. So as you can imagine, 5 years, that's a long time. And sometimes like, you might wonder, well, can you have these same feelings in the beginning? Yes, and like it's not quite the same, but it's more evolved. It's like wine that ages over time. It gets
Mm,
tastes better, but it's not that same first glass that you experience. So I think that, yeah, he could definitely attest to that with, you know, the loving feelings evolving. And so it kind of grows more into like this sense of reverence and belonging more so than it is just like these carbonated soda feelings, which still come up. Like we still feel that. And we have these fresh moments that come through all the time, but it's different. It's deeper. It's more rooted. It's not like your puppy love.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. And it's so awesome that you guys are aware of to even be aware of that, and not just going through the motions or whatever, like there's intention with your love and stuff like that. So that's really beautiful. Um do you essentially believe that we have that specific person out there for us? Because I've fallen in love before, or at least I thought I did. uh So like when you find that person, is that does everybody have that person? You've heard the term twin flame and all that,
Yeah,
but does everyone have their person?
that's a good question. My wise self would say, ask your soul that. But beyond that, I would say, like, excuse me, I have to take a swig. Um,
Us.
some scratchy stuff coming up. So I would say that I think we all have multiple soulmates in our life's journey.
Mm,
I think we have friend soulmates. I think we also have romantic soulmates, multiple. Because I've definitely
it's
felt that.
interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that twin flame, like soulmate
Okay.
with somebody. The Before I met Joey, and it was like so potent that we may have had a past life together and yada yada and that resonance, but we didn't size up in the life building category, like building a life together. But there was this amazing soul connection. So I believe it's a little eclectic. I think we do have multiple soulmates. You might even date multiple men in this life romantically, but I do think that there's at least one, maybe more, but I would say at least one person that will be your life, that can be or will be your life partner. And I do think that it's kind of like this split branch where there's like life partner, soulmate, and I think they intertwine. Ideally, you want to have both, like where you have that soul resonance and then there's the life partner. I think
Mm.
anyone can have access to that. It's just knowing what you're wanting, knowing what you don't want, and then being open, like our little antennas. Zzz. But yeah, I don't know if that's something that you see in regards to us having multiple soulmates, but potentially there is that one life partner. Do you see it that way, or do you think you have a slightly different perspective on that?
I think the multiple soulmates is absolutely true, because that reminded me of a conversation I had a couple months ago with a lady. She um, is a psychic medium, and she was telling me a story of how she knew someone in her spirit, in her soul, from a past life, who was only there to help her grow in her journey, but she loved him. It was, I can't explain it. I mean, there's an episode for everyone who wants to listen to it, but um, so basically, that person, there was a agreement they made on the soul level, um, and he was there to help her in her journey. And reflecting on my past relationships, yeah, it made me find out more about myself, I believe. Those relationships, it brought me to a place of like really like learning about who Trey is,
Mm.
and I am so thankful for those, even though they hurt. I am so thankful for those, because I wouldn't be who I am today. So I believe, yeah, you can have multiple soulmates, and you can also have a life partner.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
That's beautiful, especially with what you had shared about us. Like each person having something to teach us is so true. Even the ones
mhm.
the fully most aligned, like they've definitely taught me. And I'm thankful even for my partner right now, my beloved, because
There you go.
he he has, I feel like, give me such a school of teachings just by him being himself in the 5 years we've been together that I don't know if I would have had access to beyond that, or maybe it took me a little bit longer, or maybe a few more people to date to maybe get those codes of wisdom that I've received with dating him, and like that awareness of myself. Like he's really been that beautiful and painful, used to be very painful mirror of where I needed to heal my heart and open up my mind to seeing in a new way in regards to how to love, how to be loved, and loving myself.
Mm, that's good. You know, when I look at relationships now, I'm looking through spiritual lenses, energetic lenses. Now that doesn't mean I turn off my logic up here and just like, red flags like, oh, this person, you know, said they want to kill me or whatever, like I'm not ignoring things, but like I feel like when you live from that place of energy and spiritual awareness and strength, you can really see who comes into your life for who they are. And so the whole thing of like playing games and all this, I don't know if you look at YouTube, but there's all kinds of YouTube channels on how to like pick up women, on how to pick up men, and all this crap. I'm serious.
I know what
And so,
I don't
and
miss.
so, and so if you just live from that place of authentic self and love and peace and harmony, when that person comes, boom, I guess it'll just be magical, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, I want to speak to that real quick because you bring up such a valid perspective out there. So I something me and my partner have actually talked about. There's this there's like two worlds in dating. I feel like there's the world where it's what you're talking about. It's like a game. It's looked at as a game.
mhm,
How to pick her up, how to like screw that guy over so he doesn't hurt you again. And it's like all these like tactical mental
wow.
ways to really like go at it. And it lacks that substance of what you call authenticity and soul, right? But it's still a thing. Like I think that's something that's so socially, culturally conditioned. And then you have the other level of this romantic love journey where it's actually we are eliminating the fact that love is a game. It's a dance. And
Mm,
it's a dance between two people, two unique souls coming together to reflect back love, wisdom, and any kind of lessons that we need to learn and how to love ourselves and how to love each other. And so it like shatters that first world view of dating. And then we look at it as actually we're learning to grow roots together, and it's no longer perceived as a game. And that's something me and my partner both have realized. Like when I look at that, it's like kindergarten, elementary school level. When I look at that first stage, I'm like, I can't believe people are still playing this, but I played that too. I didn't know. I think that a lot of that has to do with people's hearts being so closed up,
mm,
and then that cultural conditioning, because you're like, well, shit, I don't know how to attract it, right? You're thinking like, I'm just don't have any luck, or like, this is what I see on TV. So then you just mimic that. Same thing like a beginning salesperson. Okay, I come in sales and marketing background. Well, I didn't always used to, but and I learned that like, okay, there are even in that realm, there's like the stage one where you're looking at it as like a game, and then it's like, oh, here's
mhm,
scripts and tactical ways, blah, 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 which could be helpful, right? But then there's the next level of sales where it's like, okay, we're looking at the whole person. I'm being my authentic self. I don't need to just like throw something out on my social media, become an infomercial. I can actually be my most unique, authentic self, and that and sharing my values, and that's what's going to attract my people, right? It's a totally different level of sales, and that's how I see it with relationships. We have these two levels. There's the game, and then there's the non-game, and we're looking at that as a dance.
Yeah. The people who are on the other side of that, who uh, lead with their values, they see right through that bullshit. The games. I had a date like way back when, and I took this lady out, and we're sitting there waiting for our food, and she's just talking, and I'm talking with her, and um, she and I'm not an intimidating guy, but she like her hands like just started shaking like this, really weird. I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "A person like you, I'm kind of afraid of because you see me." I was like, "Whoa, shit!" And we were just sitting there, like the food hadn't came. It was just a moment between two humans, and I'm just like, my energy's going forth. I'm ready to receive whatever she's giving me, and she like was like, I guess her heart wasn't open yet. And so like, I'm not saying that to say like I'm this love guru guy or something, but like just like, yeah, your energy, the person you are, you can see me. And I saw her, and I didn't use that to like beat her down or insult her. I just saw her and just kept it moving. But yeah,
I see
I
you.
don't know. You're so crazy.
I see you.
So
Wake up.
tell us how you really feel. I'm just playing.
Oh, no. No, that's so beautiful. I like that you like said that. It's so true. Like seeing, it's the
Hmm.
seeing. That's what alchemizes. I think that's the bridge between those two worlds in dating. It's seeing and being seen.
Mm.
Allow yourself to be seen, and then that heart opening.
You know, this entire episode has been like really good for me. Like I feel rejuvenated. I feel blessed, inspired. I'm definitely like rooting for you and everything that you're doing, all your endeavors. Um, and like 2025, I just want you to keep doing what you're doing. Be true to yourself and keep doing what you're doing. So, like, this has been good for me. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
I agree. Thank you for having me on. I feel very energized, and it's been exciting to have more of a deeper spiritually type of conversation and sharing my journey. And you asked me those questions, and we riffing off of these shared values. It's definitely been very nice to riff and have somebody in the sandbox to play with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I held back. I could have kept going a little deeper. Now,
I
I'm
know.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Save that for
Uh,
the podcast, getting together in person.
oh yeah. So exploring places unknown is all about exploring human potential. Not just places, not just things, but ourselves. And so you're like the poster person for what I look for on this show is people like you that are aware, people that have been through some things, but also made it to the other side and are able to tell their story. Sometimes I think, everybody has a voice, but not everybody's at that place where they can share their story with depth. And so, like, I really appreciate your energy, your transparency, your genuineness. And, I consider you a friend, Nadine. Like, I really do. And so I wish you the best for 2025 and everything else that you're doing. Can you also share with the audience where to reach you on your socials and things like that?
Yeah. Wow, what a beautiful closing. So, you guys can find me on Facebook. That's where I mainly hang out. It's my first name, last name, which we'll type up in the comments. And you can find me on Instagram, Nitty Gritty 18.
Okay. All right, y'all. I will leave all of her contact info in the description of this episode. So thank you guys for listening and tuning in, and we'll catch you back on the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.